This is the Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Fort Hall School of Government and Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. This Sunday, opinion is divided at the Fort Hall School of Government. One set of scholars is excited about the statesmanship of Raila Odinga. They celebrate his tactical retreat and they support his political deceit towards NASA. Their position borrows from Niccolò Machiavelli, and it's simple. A good prince does what he needs to do. If keeping his word leads him to harm, he must not keep his word. He must break all his promises to survive. And this is what Raila did when he met Uhuru with his daughter. He chose survival over loyalty to NASA. The second set of scholars is suspicious about the meeting. They believe that this Uhuru-Raila meeting is a swindle, that someone is cheating someone, but they have no idea who the foxy player is. One thing they know for sure is this: Raila is not the kind of person from whom you buy a second-hand car. The car will surprise you. Similarly, Uhuru is the least studied politician in Kenya. We do not know him. The question, therefore, is this: who is cheating whom?
Let us begin with some facts. The meeting between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga evoked the same sense of relief as the peace accord of 2008. After this accord, the country experienced the highest growth ever. We built roads, we got loans from banks, and the Kenyan dream exploded. And we must note, the Kibaki-Raila years recorded the best innovations in government ever. And this was because of the intellectual presence of the Luo nation. This is a fact of history. With the Luo genius in government, country changed. Kibaki discovered that it is better to have your enemy inside peeing out than to have them outside peeing in. And Uhuru Kenyatta has borrowed from the wisdom of the Wazes. But there is one more thing. Raila repeated one phrase numerously. He told us this: the divide ends now. The divide ends here. And this is why we called him a statesman and a nationalist. What this means is simple. He has resigned as the people's president. Now Uhuru should create a national position called Baba for him. Then we should construct a national monument for Baba at Kamukunji Park in his honor.
This is why I celebrate Raila Odinga. He told us this national divide ends now, it ends here. And what this means is that the buck stops with him. If he has resigned as the people's president, other things must end now, they must end here. Secession must end now. Resist must end now. Opening servers must end now. People's Republic must end now. Canaan and its fake hopes must end now. And that is the Raila Odinga promise. You can borrow a loan using it as security from a Shylock. But we celebrate Raila Odinga for a second reason. He can read the rhythms of the times. He sensed that the bearded sisters of NASA were going to betray him. If he did not meet Uhuru on Friday, they were going to see Uhuru on Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. And for sensing this betrayal and acting swiftly, we salute Baba Man.
As the devil's advocate, I am completely suspicious of this Uhuru-Raila deal. It is a clever ceasefire. It is just a commercial break. Let me explain. Once upon a time, the Greeks surrounded a city called Troy. They tried and tried for a decade to take over the city, but they couldn't break through the walls. After a decade of failure, the Greeks developed a strategy. They constructed a huge wooden horse and then they hid their best soldiers inside it. One night, the clever Greeks pushed this horse to the gates of the city of Troy. They claimed it was a peace offering to the king. Convinced that the city was now safe, the king of Troy opened its gates and received the gift. But that night, the Greek soldiers, hidden in the wooden horse, crawled out, ambushed the Trojan army, and defeated them. In one day, they had accomplished what they could not accomplish in 1 decade. Is this the Raila strategy? Did he take a Trojan horse to Harambee House? Is he waiting for the night to release his gifted soldiers? I am suspicious.
This is why we are suspicious. History has taught us that we learn nothing from history. Every 10 years, Raila embraces his enemy through a deal. Then he destroys the enemy. He did this with Mzee Moi. 10 years later, in 2007, he did this with Mzee Kibaki. And now, after 10 years, he is doing this with Uhuru Kenyatta in 2018. But 1997 is the classic example. After a series of political failures, Raila took a peace offering to Mzee Moi at Harambee House. It was a Trojan horse. Mzee Moi accepted the gift. Then he rewarded Raila with the grand position of Secretary General of KANU. Once inside KANU, Raila unleashed his hidden soldiers from the Trojan horse. In exactly 200 days, they collapsed KANU from within. He killed a party that had been built by our founding fathers for over 40 years. Because Raila's party was swallowed by KANU, it caused so much indigestion that death was inevitable. If Raila could kill KANU in 200 days, and this was KANU in the days of Mzee Moi, can we trust Raila's deal with Harambee House? We are uncomfortable.
Now I am confused. If in 2008, the country happened because Raila brought the Luo nation into government, then what is wrong with doing it again? If Mzee Kibaki built roads because Raila was with him, what is wrong with co-opting Raila so that Uhuru can do the big four? And yes, Raila could betray Uhuru, the way he betrayed Mzee Moi using the Trojan horse. But when you think about it, how does Raila benefit from such betrayal? In our view, Raila is only interested in two things. One, he's afraid of Ruto becoming president. If Ruto becomes boss, Raila is Boiro. And if Raila took a Trojan horse to Harambee House this week, it will be unleashed on William Ruto when the time is ripe. Two, the Odinga family has invested a total of 100 years on their political heritage. The Odinga heritage cannot be wasted on Kalonzo, Mudavadi, or Orengo. Here is the truth. Raila made peace with Uhuru because of Winnie Odinga. She'll become president after Ruto. And that is why Winnie is the only important person that Raila took to Harambee House on Friday.
I have not defended Raila for 3 years now, but today I have no choice. Those attacking him for meeting Uhuru are political vouchers, and we know them. They have hovered all over Raila's head, waiting for him to die politically, so that they can feed on his carcass. But Raila has outsmarted them. Now they are asking for an all-inclusive dialogue. Yet the country knows that if Raila is in the dialogue is all-inclusive. Raila is actually the dialogue, period. But there is another unspoken truth in NASA. All NASA principles are equal, but one principle is more equal than the others. That's the truth. This principle met Uhuru Kenyatta, and his deal with Uhuru is final. There will be no more dialogue, in my view. It is finished. What's my point here? Raila is a practical politician. He knows that the NASA core principles are leeches. They have survived because Raila has been their food. Without Raila, They are absolutely nothing. He does not need them in 2022. The expiry date has actually come now. So what Raila is doing now is that he's going to Uhuru because he's looking for a new person to use. And the question we need to ask here is this: who is cheating who in this constellation?
Now we will conclude with a Sunday school puzzle. Jesus taught us about a foolish man and a wise man. The foolish man built his house on sand, and the wise man built his house on solid rock. But when the rains came, the house on the rock stood. The house built on sand was swept away. Our question to country, therefore, is this: between Uhuru and Raila in this agreement, whose house is built on solid rock and whose house is built on sand? And as you answer this question, remember the following: Raila has conceded. He has resigned as people's president. Is he on sand or on solid?